Hey again, Seldon here. This is my second video of tips. I'm a platinum level player, currently rank 2. I'm going to talk about worldwide war, which is the strategy I use with Axis and Allies Online, 1942. Two predominant theories. In Axis and Allies. One is the kill Germany first theory, which usually involves just getting as many troops, often pulling all this US Navy around to the Atlantic, basically shifting all resources except for minimal resources against Japan, shifting everything and trying to hit Germany with everything you got. That's not a bad strategy. Generally has a pretty good success rate. Kill Japan first is the other strategy, which is the more Pacific strategy. It involves pressuring Japan, usually with US submarines and surface fleet, try and capture these islands down here. Also pressure from the UK, from India, and even pressure from Russia. Less chance of success because Japan is hard to get to. It starts with a strong navy. It's a slower strategy. You often lose Russia. Sometimes the strategy is to, okay, we're going to lose Russia, but we'll still try our best to try and gain Japan. It does seem to have lower chance of success. I don't see it played too much on the very high levels. Couple of exceptions. Some players do it very well, but generally speaking, not an ideal. I think both strategies are wrong. We're dealing with a worldwide war, and that's the strategy that I use. The aim generally with Axis and Allies is when I encourage players to think of it less as a individual battle game, more of an overall economic game. So it's more of a game of economics rather than individual battles. Think of it mostly as an economics game. And if we're thinking of it that way, let's look for battles wherever they are in the world that are economically advantageous. Some sense, you've got to put some common sense into it, but generally if there's a sensible economic battle, take it wherever it is. Reality is, with a good player, these units are going to be, these fighters from Japan, I know they start in the Pacific, they're going to be on the front lines. A competent Japanese player will have them on the front lines somewhere in China or in Kazakh in a few turns anyway, or they're taking India in a couple of turns. So let's wipe them out if we've got a clear and sensible way to do that now. Overall thinking is still most advantageous battles will be in this area, because this is where we can, and this is the Atlantic area rather than the Pacific area, because this is where we can usually concentrate our forces as the Allies a little bit more quickly. Remember, overall this is this is a little bit of a waiting game. We want to just simply hold Russia, and we want to hold Russia for enough turns until it can the manufacturing economic might of the Allies can rescue them, basically. And once the US and British forces start landing here, it's game over for the Allies. Game over for the Axis. So it's a matter of just holding. And so let's go for the most advantageous battles. What I'm going to do too here is probably going to play this one a little risky. I'm fine with playing these battles a little risky. I'm going to assume that the US can probably take out those two subs with the destroyer and the two fighter planes here. Not necessarily. They might hold on to one of them and get lucky and roll a 1 and kill my destroyer. In which case they'd be attacking a British fleet that I want to build here. I'll have a cruiser. I want to build a carrier there. I can get 2 fighters in there, so I've got 4 units there. What are they attacking with? They're attacking with, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's fine by me. One of the quickest ways to deplete Germany's air force is if they do take that risky battle against a British fleet. So let's sort of force them a little bit by building a transport as well. Aircraft carrier. We need the 3 troops for India. Let's do that. And as I say, this is a worldwide battle. My focus will be over here, but this is one of the best examples of making it a worldwide war. Those fighters here will eventually be on the Russian front line in a matter of a turn or two. In fact, they're going to be used probably the immediate next turn against these British-American forces. These British units, otherwise, are generally used very uneconomically. Often players will send an aircraft carrier to fight this destroyer with the cruiser, for example. Not great from an IPC perspective. If we do happen to win this battle too, which is about a 50, 55, 60% battle, so it is a, you know, it's a dicey one for sure. But if you do win, these guys have a lot of frame. These UK transports puts us in a great position. So I don't mind taking that risk. The British units are pretty much wasted anyway down there. He's gone the classic move here. The response to this move is just this. In fact, I might even do this. Egypt is a complete dead zone right now. We have to get out of there. Let's get out of Dodge. Let's kill this guy. Is there anything useful I can do with him? Possibly not. So I can use the British aircraft against this. Generally speaking, you'll lose at least the bomber, maybe a fighter. I prefer sort of to hit it with the US forces next turn. I'll show you that in a second. And I almost don't mind if they bring German forces down, but he's left it blank here, so there's nothing that he can transport down anyway to Africa, so his units aren't causing much risk to Africa. This is risky. I don't usually like doing bombing raids, but if I've got nothing else to use a bomber for, I might do a raid. Typically the advantage is about 1 IPC, that's about all it is for a bombing raid, when you factor in the risk of losing the bomber. Alright, so I think that is about it. And now this could prove me wrong. This could be a very, could be a disastrous battle. Sometimes is. Overall speaking, we're just talking about overall. Overall, we're and I don't like that. I much prefer overwhelming odds. I much prefer to bring some units from India and also attack. Let's see if I can do that somehow. Trouble is this, they'll wipe out my German fighters are going to wipe out my... Not ideal. But the advantage, he's lost out by putting his fighters down here. He's just letting me basically build a British fleet in 7, which is far more dangerous to Germany, so I don't really mind. You're never really going to lose Africa as a competent Allied player anyway, because you can just pump so many troops from America into Africa that it's a pointless strategy. Overall, some players do try and take, say, Borneo, but overall the IPC advantage isn't really there. You've got a reasonable chance of capturing it with 2 infantry, but you're going to lose your transport. They're likely going to get it back pretty easily, especially if they have 2 transports as Japan. Alright, so let's do this. And one of these could go disastrously. I do this as a last resort, if I've got nothing else to use a bomber for. Well, sometimes we're lucky. Oh look at that. Sometimes it makes it worthwhile. It's 2 infantry they've lost, or the equivalent. This is the risky one, but if you win great. It's a great thing. Oh, wow. Oh, bad. This is a horrible start, actually. And I'm not going to get very far here, so I'm going to just do that. But I will continue. Makes it worthwhile. And that sort of does the job. I'm happy enough with that. Bombers and very useful in the Caucasus. They can hit a large area. That wasn't a great battle in terms of IPCs, but the alternative it was. In the alternative, it would probably UK units probably would have been lost anyway. So let's put this up here. To go there. Can anything hit this one here? I don't think so. And then the aim is to do a counterpunch on Egypt when they inevitably take it next turn with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5, and then I bomber here. So I can attack with about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which should be enough. I don't think he's going to block. He could technically block it with that battleship, but it'd be pretty silly. Okay, so I think that does the job. This guy's dead, but I can at least force him to badly position his troops to try and get it. In fact, this means that his submarine can't engage in the attack on Pearl Harbor, so that's probably worthwhile. Okay, I'm happy enough with that. So that just shows it wasn't a great example because the battle didn't go according to the fine sort of percentages. But still, I'll take battles wherever they present themselves. The alternative was that British fleet would have just been wasted probably anyway. At least I've killed an aircraft carrier and 2 fighters of Japan, which really blunts their offensive into the centre against Russia. Okay, so that's tip number 2. Let's do a worldwide battle.